Hey everybody, it's Dave Espino with the redlinepickers.com, and today I want to share with you another collection that just came in of original Redline Hot Wheels. I've opened the box already, and I'm going to share with you what's inside this carrying case. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to set up the camera in a different way, but I want to show you all the cars that are in this case, what just came in. We get so excited when we receive collections like this. They're childhood collections that people have had forever. Maybe they're stored away in an attic, in a garage, in a basement, and people are no longer enjoying them. They don't really care that much about them as much. They'd really rather see the money and maybe use that money for other things. So we come along and we make a very fair, in fact, I call it a more than fair offer on these collections. And then we get to enjoy, like being little kids at Christmas time, we get to enjoy opening this and sharing it with you guys. So without further ado, I want to show you what's inside this collection. All right, let's look at what's inside this case. This is an original Hot Wheels carrying case, 24 car collector's case, as you can see here. And what I like about this hobby is when we buy collections, usually the cases are just thrown in because it's part of the collection, right? So that's kind of nice. This one is pretty dirty. It looks like it's been sitting in a garage and whatnot. But the good thing is most of the cars have been well preserved. So we like to have people use tissue to kind of protect the cars. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay the cars out here, maybe where you can see them, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's start right here with the first car. Very often we try to guess which car it is when we're opening up these collections, just from the feel of it. But here we have a Rockbuster. Now the Rockbuster is a 1975-ish model. It's a Flying Colors car. And the way you can tell is, number one, it has graphics on it. And number two, it has a very flat enamel paint, as you can see there. The other thing you can tell is it has open hub wheels. So in the center, you can actually see the axle poking through. And those are some main distinguishing factors between Flying Colors, Redline. They do have Redlines, but this one came out a little later, sometime around 75-ish. I don't remember the exact year. Don't think it was 74. Well, it could have been 74, 75, something like that. So let me make sure that you can see these here on the screen. All right. I'm going to point out the difference between this Flying Colors model and a standard Spectraflame Hot Wheels model, right? So, here's another Flying Colors model. This is a really nice one. It's called a Vega Bomb. It's based on a Ford Vega, and it's a funny car. So it opens up like a funny car. But what's really cool about this one is it's in what's called an alternate color. Alternate color means that most of the Vega Bombs came in yellow, and a few were made in this light green color. So because fewer were made in the light green color, they have more value. So this is an alternate color. It's called an alternate color Vega Bomb. As you can see, it does have Redline tires. And it's a very cool item because it's lesser seen, right? So I'm going to put these, let's see, I got to put these where you can see them. I thought the Rockbuster was the only Flying Colors, but it turns out the Vega Bomb is also a Flying Colors era Redline. It came a little later in the line than Spectraflame. Here's another one. It was originally chrome, but as you can see, it's pretty worn. This is also a Flying Colors era car. I'm going to set that one aside. What's happening is I'm having trouble finding where to put these so you can see them on camera. All right. So it looks like we're starting off with the Flying Colors, which is fine. I want to get to the cars that we really like, which is the Spectraflame cars. And here's one of them. Here we have a McLaren in Aqua. The rear hatch is toned. That means that it's darkened. That takes away from the value. The front of the car is good condition, but it's still kind of rough. You can see the wheel chrome on the tires is kind of lacking. So that's not a great car in terms of what collectors are looking for, but people will buy them. Obviously at a very reduced price, right? Here we have a Volkswagen Bug. Now Volkswagens are always a favorite. People really like Volkswagen Bugs. This one looks to be in pretty nice condition. overall. It's got a couple of toning spots on the roof. The headlight silver is still really nice. The only problem is that the wheel chrome is pretty faded. So this is a good candidate. This Bug is a good candidate for a good cleaning in just warm water, nothing else. And potentially swapping out the wheels for nicer wheels, and it'll look really nice that way. Okay, because the paint condition is in really good condition. All right. And by the way, swapping out wheels on early Redlines is not a problem. As long as the wheels are original wheels, then there's no problem. They were actually made that way. They were made to be able to swap out the wheels. Here we have a twin mill in purple. Looks really nice. And as you can see, it's in good condition. Wheel chrome is decent. Wheels are a little tweaked, but it's in nice condition overall. Hardly any chips or anything like that. Again, it could benefit from a little cleaning with just some warm water. Now, the twin mill is a concept car, and concept cars in general are worth less than real cars. So if you think about it this way, the Volkswagen Bug being a real car, and of course being a favorite among collectors just love anything Volkswagen, right? Is a much more valuable car than this twin mill, because the twin mill was simply a concept car, not a real car that was, that people could drive in real life. So the real cars like the Mustang, the Camaro, the Volkswagen Bug, the Barracuda, the Charger, the AMX, the Olds 442, all those cars that are real cars in real life have a lot more value simply because people can identify with them more, and so on. So I'm going to put the cars that I like over here on this row, and the cars that are a little rougher over on this row. Boy, I'm having a hard time having these show up on the camera there. Okay, now these will be over here. Looks like I've got to be a little closer over here. All right. What do we have next? Let's take a look. What is next? This is a small car. Nice, though. It's a Magenta Silhouette. Now, Silhouette is unusual in magenta. I'm not saying it's hard to find. It's just a little harder to find than the average colors. The most common color of the Silhouette would be either purple or antifreeze. Those were the first couple of colors that they made them in, and they made a lot of them. And then after that, all the primary colors like blue, aqua maybe, and so on. But magenta is really hard to find. It does have some wear on the roll bar, unfortunately, but magenta with a nice white interior looks pretty good. I like that one. All right, let's see what's next. What do we have that's next here? This one is beefy. It's a big car. Can't tell by holding it. It's a Mighty Maverick. It's a Mighty Maverick in green. Now, in the Flying Colors line, you really don't have a lot of variation of colors. You might have two colors for one car, like the Vega Bomb, okay? But in a lot of the other Flying Colors, there's just one color per car, and that's because of cost cutting they had to do back in the day. This is a nice Noodlehead. Noodlehead is also a concept car. This is an original Spectraflame car. You can see the difference in Spectraflame and Flying Colors, right? The Spectraflame shines. Flying Colors is a dull enamel. So in '73, they went to these dull enamel colors, and collectors like me were outraged because we really liked the shiny paint. But in '73, there was a big recession, and Mattel had to cut costs just like everybody else. So they went to these very dull enamel colors. Now this Noodlehead, while it may not be a lot to look at, not be super cool to look at, this is known for being a drag racing champion, meaning that if you're racing this car on Hot Wheels track, you're going to want a Noodlehead. Why? Look how heavy this thing is. It's got all this metal, all this metal, all this metal. This one's not in great condition. It's got some tarnish on the engine, tarnish on the base. The paint isn't in nice condition, but unfortunately the tarnish takes away from it. So that's a good car. This would be a great car for racing on Hot Wheels track, just a straight downhill Hot Wheels track. All right, you're learning a lot about Hot Wheels here on this video. Let's get to the next one. Ooh, this one is nice. It's a nice light blue Ford Vicky, classic Ford Vicky in really nice condition. It's got very mild Very mild toning on the right side. Not so much on the left side, a little bit on the back. Just to give you a little close-up look, here's the mild toning you can see on that side, but not so much there. But it's in nice, decent overall condition, decent base. That's a really nice car. All right, next car. Apparently, all of these can benefit from some kind of wheel swap, and I don't know what environmental issues were around when these cars were stored, but it looks like a lot of this wheel chrome was rubbed off. All right, here we have a Paddy Wagon. Pretty nice concept car. Tom Daniels made a model kit of this Paddy Wagon, and then it became a Hot Wheels car. This is a very common car. You get these in just about every collection. But there are some interesting variations to the Paddy Wagon as well, and we talked about that in a recent episode. All right, let's see what's next. I really like how these are padded and come with plenty of tissue as well. So here's an interesting car. It's a Flying Colors car, and this one has Redline wheels, which is very hard to find. Now definitely has its wear and condition issues. It's definitely been played with, so you can't get maximum top dollar for it. But the fact that it comes with Redline wheels is a very big plus, because most of these were made with black wall wheels, meaning same exact wheels but without the red stripe. And this one comes with Redline wheels, which makes it a very unusual, hard to find car. So that's a really nice one, and this one's called, I believe it's called the Teetotaler. That's a good one, even with wear issues and condition issues. All right, let's move on to the next car. See what we got here. Ooh, nice sand crab. So we have a sand crab in rose. As you can see there, really nice condition. Again, wheel chrome leaves a lot to be desired, but it's in nice shape. Not bad, not bad. All right, we're almost halfway through this collection. Let's see what's in this one here. Mercedes 280 SL. I think you've got to be kind of a Mercedes nut or fan to be into these. I'm not personally into them, but there are people that collect these Mercedes 280 SLs. This one's in okay condition. It's definitely got some wear here and there, some toning issues as well. All right, let's see, this one has a hood, I can hear it. Oh, Jackrabbit Special. Another fairly common car. This one looks to be in really nice condition, well kept. Does not look like it was played with much at all. There's one ding in the corner of the roll cage there. Base is tarnished. Not bad, but a fairly common car. Let's see what we have here. This one, all these are double wrapped, so it kind of takes a little extra time to unwrap them. Looks like we've got a Fire Chief Cruiser in really nice condition. Looks overall very clean, very well kept. Doesn't look like it was played much. There is some general aging to the base. Not a super popular car, although, you know, it is based on a real car, a Plymouth Fury, but not a super popular car, as I would say. All right, here is a hot pink Harry Hauler. Pretty nice shape. Looks really clean. It's got some general hazing to it. We call it hazing. That's when the paint isn't 100% bright. You could maybe see it in that light. Kind of like toning, but more like a just overall unbrightness, I guess you could say. This canopy opens up like that. Really cool. Really good shape generally. Nice base overall. So that's a good one. All right, let's see what we've got here. We're down to a few more, a handful left. Okay, we have a T for 2. This one is in Aqua. Looks like it's in really great condition. It's kind of a joke car, like, you know, which direction is it going in? In fact, the original name of this car, this T for 2, was Which Way. That was the original name that they started with when they were first designing it. Which way? Because it could go either way, right? Pretty nice base. This is a good one. I like it. And I think that Aqua is a tougher color for this car. I'm not an expert on the T42, but I think Aqua is one of the tougher colors for this one. All right, I'm going to put this right here. You can't really see a lot of these cars. Let's see if I can move some of them over here where you can see them. All right, on to more cars. This is so fun. We have a blast doing this. That's why we want to share it with you. If you happen to have old Hot Wheels cars, you can see how excited we get with these cars. We pay really, really good money, by the way, for these cars. Better than just about anybody else. And that's because we're collectors first, right? So this is called the Mod Quad, and this one opens this way. It opens sideways, as you can see there, right? It's pretty cool. I remember when I first got one of these, and I would always look at these Hot Wheels and see, are there any moving parts to this car, right? Because they always had these little hidden or kind of secret moving parts. And I remember the first time I opened it like this, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Because you kind of expect something like this to open the other way, like in the Harry Hauler, right? But the fact that it opened sideways was extra cool to me at the time when I was a kid and I saw that. Now this one is rose, and it has very even toning throughout all of this part. But the canopy is a separate metal piece, and the canopy, you can see, is not toned. So it's interesting, sometimes that happens with these Redlines. It's because they're two separate parts, right? You've got the body is separate from the canopy, but then in assembly, they put them together, and then the body doesn't match the canopy because they were made in two separate processes, right? Kind of interesting, though. This one's called the Mod Quad because it has 4 engines, quite toned on the engines. So it's probably a good car to race. It has some good heft to it and some good weight. Wheel chrome on this car is really nice, though. I wish all these cars had this wheel chrome. Very, very nice. Very well kept. No chips to speak of. It's just that the toning kind of takes away a lot of the value on that car. If that were a nice, bright rose with nice, bright engines, it would be really amazing. Really a showpiece. Because there are no nicks or scratches on it at all. All right, so here we have an interesting car. This is what's known as a creamy pink Dorado. Creamy pink is an unusual color. It's one of the early colors. In the Hot Wheels catalog, it was called lavender. This is an interesting color, kind of a hard color to describe. We call it creamy pink as a contrast to hot pink. So this one is hot pink, and this one is creamy pink. And as you can see, the hot pink is sprayed over bare metal. The creamy pink looks like it was sprayed over some kind of a shiny base coat. Although that's not what it was. It probably is just a more milky type of paint that had a little more depth to it, right? So it's not as shiny. Creamy pink can look really good when it's not toned. This one does have some toning there and some toning along the side. But overall, really nice condition. Just a little ding right there. And again, could definitely benefit from wheel swap because this car would look so much better with some nice, fresh, original wheels. But creamy pink is a valuable color in general because there were so few of them made in that creamy pink shade. All right, we're getting close to the end here. Let's make sure we have them all lined up. You can see most of them there. And this is a Mantis. The reason it's called a Mantis is because it has these eyelets. This canopy is like eyes. And it actually kind of looks like a mantis if you look at it from the top, a praying mantis. So it's kind of a cool concept car. This one does have some dings on it. Again, could definitely use some wheel changes, but overall, pretty nice condition. I don't see any toning on this car, just a few dings here and there. Let's see what is next here. This one feels beefy. Okay, this is a Grasshopper. It's called a Grasshopper in magenta. This one looks really rough. Just taking a good look at it. And actually it doesn't look rough. What it is that, again, the wheel chrome needs to be better. So we typically will switch these out. These are capped wheels, so we can actually pop the caps off and put in fresh caps from another car. Always use original. We always use original Redline parts for the wheels, and then that's totally okay in the collecting community. Okay to swap out wheels as long as they are original wheels. The roof probably could just use some cleaning, and I just noticed there's definitely some glue down there, some kind of a repair. So this one loses a lot of value for those reasons. Wow, we're seeing a lot of reddish colors. We're seeing a lot of red, a lot of magentas, rose, creamy pink. It's interesting. Sometimes you see patterns in these collections. It's a smaller car. This is a Python. Python is another cool concept car. I always liked the Python. I always thought that profile was kind of neat. This one's a little rough, Hong Kong version, but not bad at all. Last car. Take a look at the last car. What do we have here? Another small car. Okay, we got a Grand Prix racer. So we have a green Indy Eagle. Again, not super clean, but you know what? There's plenty of demand for these cars in the Hot Wheels collecting world because it's not easy to find them. And even when you do find a collection of early Hot Wheels cars, you're usually competing with other collectors that also want that collection. So what we do in order to basically outbid everybody else is we just pay more. We're just willing to pay more because there's a certain value in being able to actually acquire the collection and being able to keep the cars we want, which is really the reason we do this. And then we have an easy way to contact all of our collector friends and sell these or trade these to them as well. So if you have an early Hot Wheels collection like this, we would love to see photos of it. That's the first step. You can either send us an email. First visit redlineswanted.com. That's redlineswanted.com. And there you'll find our email address where you can just send us photos of your cars. The clearer and the more well lit the photos and the bigger, the better. Right? Because that allows us to see every little flaw, every little nick and scratch, and that allows us to make a fair offer. We're going to make the more than fair offer for you, but we need to be able to see the cars really, really well. So if you have a collection, be sure to visit redlineswanted.com, and in the meantime, we'll keep showing you these collections as we unearth them from the attics and the basements and the garages and the storage units of the world. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you next time on redlinepickers.com.